Hello and welcome to jasonnewland.com. This is Q&A. Ooh, ooh. Q&A. Ooh, ooh. Q&A. Ooh, ooh. Friday. Ooh, ooh. What's up, Vin? What is it, Vinny? What? Look at the way he turns his head. Vinny, what is it? What? What is it, lassie? There's a donkey fell down a well. What, Flipper? Someone stuck in a cave? Vinny? Oh, Vinny, look at you with your ears sticking up. One ear sticking up, one ear flopping down. Like a deflated cactus. So, this is Let Me Bore You to Sleep. My website's jasonnewland.com. My name is Jason Newland. Oh, stiff neck. And my Facebook page or Facebook group is Jason Newland's Boring Group. You should join. And then you get to ask me questions for Q&A Friday, which I do every Friday. So today's Q&A Friday, I have 4 questions, although one is made up of a few questions, I think. So only listen when you can safely close your eyes, or watch the video when you can safely close your eyes, because it might be boring. Very boring. And that's Vinny in the background, if you didn't know already. You might hear him. You might not. So the first question is Ing asks me, can you cook? No. If so, what dishes do you sometimes prefer to prepare? If so, what do I used to be able to speak. If so, what dishes do you sometimes prepare? I said I can't cook. Weren't you listening? Technically, I can cook. But do I? No. I've got an air fryer, which means, well, it just means I've got an air fryer, just another thing in the kitchen I don't use. Another dust collector. I'm not really a cook. Not really a cooker. I don't know, just it's just really hard because I spend so much time looking online for really sexy shirts that I don't get much time to cook. By the way, if you want to laugh and you're not watching the video, then perhaps visit the video, then you can see what I'm talking about. Mind you, you can just see the video. You haven't got to actually watch the video because you can see what I'm wearing. I mean, personally, I think it looks really, really groovy. But not everyone else is going to agree with that. But hey, I realised years ago, not only can I not please all the people all the time, I don't seem to be able to please anybody ever. So it's fine. It's okay. I can cook. I mean, I did go to catering college on one day a week when I was 16 on the YTS scheme, working in a chip shop. On a Wednesday, I think it was, I used to go to a college for one day a week for a year. And I learned cooking, and I learned catering and waiting as well. You know, which sides to serve and all the different cutlery to put out, and I just did not see the point in any of that stuff. It just seemed a bit silly. But what does it matter which side you serve a meal? Really, just serve it. I mean, if you got a person sitting on one side, the other person sitting like on the corner, so they're kind of sitting next to each other, on a square table, then of course you wouldn't serve in the middle of them talking. You'd serve, probably to the side. That makes sense. Just gauge it on what's going on, I imagine, so that the other person doesn't get to spit in the person's food before they eat it while they're talking. Yeah, I wasn't very good at that. I did do cooking at school as a lesson, as a subject, because I wanted, really what it was, when I got to the point where I could choose, it was called home economics when I was a kid. And once I could choose my subjects, well, some of them, in probably the 4th and 5th year, or was it 3rd, 4th, 5th, something like that, I chose as many subjects that weren't, I don't know, hard, I guess, academic, but hard, probably the better word. So I had no choice about doing English or maths, but I guess I also had to do history and geography, and I do believe that was it. I chose RE as a subject, religious education. I chose, unless we had to do that, I'm pretty sure I chose it. As far as the other ones, drama, and I chose cooking or home economics. I'm sure I chose another one. I can't remember what it was. Home economics and drama. No, I can't remember. But, I mean, it's over 5 years ago. I remember. Oh, man. I remember I'll be in London, about 92, 91 maybe, 91, thinking to myself, wow, I've been left school for 5 years. 5 whole years. And now, 38 years later, wow. So, I mean, with cooking, it was more, I mean, it was basic food like lasagna, or other things. A fair amount of cakes, which I liked. I liked the cakes because it was nice to eat afterwards. I mean, the food tasted nice, smelt nice, but generally it was other people's food that smelt nice. Mine, it was a bit of a bad situation, really, because I don't know what day it was, it might have been a Thursday or Tuesday, whatever I brought home from cookery class would be our dinner, like the family dinner. And what's weird about it is my dad never mentions anything from my childhood. It's like he doesn't remember a single thing that ever happened. But a little while ago, I don't know, a few years ago maybe 5 years ago, but he said he was making fun of me to his wife, and he was laughing about how I used to turn up. I'd walk all the way from school with a dish. It'd be covered up, but it'd be a big, like, glass dish full of like lasagna or whatever meal it was, and I'd turn up and it'd be all over me. Half of the food would be on my top and down my trousers. And that's what he remembers. That's the one thing he remembers of my childhood. What about all the other great things I did? What about when I I'm just trying to think. I'm not sure if I created many happy memories for him. Maybe that was the only happy memory he has. I was quite insular. I was quite a loner, I think, when I was a kid. I liked to be in my bedroom, reading, listening to music, writing poetry, writing songs, attempting to write a book. That never really got very far. And then when I got older, practicing karate, working out on a punch bag, doing weights. So I didn't really like being with other people, wasn't really that interested. You know, even when I went around the gym, around the corner, I'd go around the gym on my own, and there'd be all these kids, the tough kids, like all trying to lift heavy weights and stuff, and there'd just be me struggling just to lift the bar on its own. And I didn't care. They didn't bother me, and we had this understanding, an agreement, you could say. They didn't bother me. So in the gym, when we were in the gym together, they didn't bother me, and I didn't fart. That's just one of those things. We agreed, and everything worked out fine. So I used to let off some stinkers, I tell you. And used to. So yeah, cooking, I never really enjoyed it, but it meant I didn't have to do things, because in the first and second year of high school, part of our lessons was doing stuff that I really couldn't stand. Woodwork, metalwork. I also did, I think in the second or third year, I did technical drawing. I didn't have a clue about that. I didn't know what I was doing, and the teacher was an absolute knobblehead div. He was really not he was horrible, very angry man, and scary. It was a little bit scary, you know. It's like, he was just like, why? You know, like, okay, I understand you're a little bit upset the first few lessons, but I'm now wearing trousers. So what's the problem? I listened, and I'm now wearing clothes. What? In class? What? I don't know. He didn't like having eggs chucked at his car either. Who knew? So you can't know this stuff ahead of time, can you? Who knew that having his tyres let down would be a trigger? So yeah, I didn't like that. Metalwork, it was stinky. It was stinky. It was very, very stinky, very burny, very. And I'm like, why am I doing this? Why would I ever need to do metalwork? What possible thing would I need to make with metal? That's what shops are for. But I couldn't see any use of it. At the time, I couldn't see any use of it. And with the welding, or you put a welding thing, torch in my hand, and all I see is what it could be used for. and nothing good. So I didn't really like that stuff. Just didn't see the point. Although I didn't mind a bit of, is it smouldering? You know, when you put is it lead or silver? I don't know. And you put it in and you like melt. I suppose welding, isn't it? It's welding. And you weld them together. But you use something as a kind of cement. It was all right, but I didn't see the point. I mean, I don't know what could we have made of metal. I mean, in woodwork we could make shelves. What could you make in metalwork? The brackets. I'm not saying that you can't make anything in metal. I just can't think of anything that I ever made in metal. In fact, I can't think of anything that I ever made in school, full stop, where I went home feeling proud and showing my family without them laughing. So, although when I was in junior school, I liked balsa wood. I don't mean in a weird way. I liked it. Or I liked balsa wood because to be able to transform something that's just like a bit of wood into something, just with some sandpaper, maybe a little chisel, a little knife, just I think it might be called whittling or something, but I enjoyed that. And I made a little canoe. Remember the first thing I ever made was a canoe from balsa wood. And that was the thing I was best at making. And every week I'd take something new home, something I made at school, in junior school, every week for like 2 years. The only lesson I really enjoyed, like crafts, I like doing, and I remember my dad sitting me down and saying, "You're getting good at the balsa wood." I said, "Thank you." He said, "Is there any chance you can make something different?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "We've got 100 canoes, 100 little canoes all over the place. We're tripping up. We have to kick one of your brothers out just to make room for the canoes." I said, "That's not why you kicked him out." I said, "Okay. Why didn't they say something before? Why leave it for 2 years and then moan because they had to move house just to fit all the canoes in? Why?" Who knows? Well, parents. I don't get it. I mean, I've never been in the parent role, but I imagine there's other ways of dealing with it. You just chuck them out, I suppose. I don't know. There was one time when I actually probably can't see it. You have to zoom in. I've got a cut on my wrist just there, and it was by an accident. And yeah, you can't. It's pretty much, the scar's still there, but it's very faint, just there. And I was doing with the balsa, I was making a canoe. Just what I did. And it slipped and it went into my wrist, and that wasn't good. And I went home and my dad looked at my wrist and he said, "You're going to need to go to hospital." And then there was something happened to distract. Oh yeah, I didn't go to hospital in the end because Coronation Street came on, so they wanted to watch that instead. It's all right though. I mean, there's a little scar. The thing is, the scar is the same size as it was when I was like 9. So imagine I was a lot smaller when I was 9. So that was quite a big scar. That might not be true. It might be the same size, but the same size in proportion. And if anything, it would have stretched, wouldn't it? It'd be bigger now than it was back then. I don't know how it works. What is the physics of that? I quite like doing... What's that stuff where you... Cross-stitching? Is it cross-stitching? Yeah, I like that. Like cross-stitching. Yeah. I did it for a while, and then I found it was too relaxing. So what did I do? I'm sure I did like a picture of a mole. I think I did a cross-stitching picture of a mole with lipstick. At least that's what the teacher said it looked like. I mean, possibly wasn't what I was going for, but I didn't tell the teacher that. Yeah. See, it's hard. See, all I had was a picture of Adamant on the cover of Looking magazine, so that's all I had to go on. Now, I don't think Adamant looks like a mole with lipstick. That was rude of the teacher to say that. That's what I got from it. It's hot in here. I'm sweating. It's all these lights. That's what it is. Oh, you know what I did yesterday? Because I use CapCut for the video editing, and I played around with some of the edits, and I can change the way my face looks. And some of you might be thinking, well, good. Please continue. No, I haven't on this video. Obviously, imagine what I looked like before. If this is the results of me making myself look better, what the hell did I look like before? I can make all the wrinkles go away. I can make any bags under my eyes go. It can all kinds of things, make my face whiter. Like everyone knows I've got a pink face, so what can I do? I'm so pink. Some people might think that I'm just topless, but I'm not. This is a pink top. So there's a joke there somewhere. I don't know where. Can't find it. I can actually make my head smaller. For some reason, it won't allow it to go bigger, which I find a bit strange. But I can make my head smaller. I can make my cheeks, if I say the word, thinner. I can make my chin smaller. Why would I want it to be smaller? I don't even have a big chin. It's a small chin. I hardly have a chin. My ears. Oh, you know what? I can make my... I think by making my cheeks thinner, it makes my ears raise up or something. It's very strange. In the end, I didn't do it. I just decided, nah, what's the point? It's really hard to improve on perfection. But yeah, I was like, what's the point? It's like, this is what I look like. I'm not here to win any awards for being super, super sexy. I mean, that's just a given. It's one of those things. It's the downfall. It's one of my downfalls, is being too attractive. So can I cook? I don't like cooking. I can't say I'm even a big fan of eating anymore. I'm not that just... I think I just got to the age where it's like... eating is like going to the toilet. It's just something that has to be done. Unless it's chocolate. Unless it tastes yummy. That's the only food I like. Food that tastes nice. I'm basically like a child. Although I would like to go back, I'd like to increase my fitness, like with the training I'm doing, and I need to definitely get my belly a bit smaller, but I am doing stomach exercises every day now. But I would like to have a diet which is conducive to helping the development of a bit more muscle maybe, and just to get myself a bit toned. I want a t-shirt body by the summer, by May, at least by May. So is it February, March, April? So 3 months. February, March and April, 3 months to get my body into... It's basically my bikini body, you could say. Getting my beach body. But I'll be having a t-shirt on. I will never, have never... Yeah, I've never gone topless. Apart from when I have. No, apart from like in a swimming baths. And the last time I went into a swimming bath was probably... I don't remember going swimming since the 90s, the middle 90s. That's the last time I went to swimming baths, I think. I don't recall going any time recently. And the sunbathing. And the last time I went sunbathing on a beach was in 1987. So it gives you an idea of how often I get my top off. Now, what's weird about it is back then I was absolutely horrified at the idea of people seeing me topless because I was so skinny. Irony, eh? Now look at me. It's weird. It's, even though technically I probably looked all right. I remember I had a massage once because this is when my back started hurting back in the late 90s, and I didn't know it was going to end. I didn't realise it was like the starts of arthritis in my lower back. But yeah, so it's been going on for a long time. I do exercises every day now for it. So, but it was a little bit of a shock, you know, like don't like this. And I also had an injury from, I'm trying to justify why I went to a massage parlour. It wasn't a massage parlour, it wasn't a massage parlour. It was like a health club place in Stratford. And yeah, it was. No, it was. I didn't realise it was a naturist health club. I didn't know that. I didn't. Genuinely, I didn't. I mean, you could say, well, why did I keep going back? So I did know. There were times I was in there and I did know it's a naturist place. But you didn't have to be naked. So I'd have a dressing gown on and stuff. And that was weird because I'd go in there because you could use the sauna, you could use a jacuzzi, you could use, and they did massages. And I was trying to help because my back, I had an injury. Again, still trying to justify why I was there. I ain't got to justify it. It was just a normal massage, pretty much. No, it was a normal massage. But they weren't naturist. It was so annoying. Everyone else was walking around, even the bar staff, walking around on their Todd. But the massage people, they were professional and they were just fully clothed. I'm saying that's good. I'm saying it's good. I was really pleased. And what happened is in 1995, was it 95? I think it was 95. I had this agency job where one of the jobs was to fill, so it was snowing. It was snowing and there's snow on the ground. It was in London. It's up near a big hospital, like one of the biggest hospitals in London. There's lots of big hospitals in London. And my job for that day was to help fill this big building, which was going to be student nurse accommodation. So we had to put in wardrobes, desks, and beds. I think that was it. Wardrobes, desks, and beds. Now, the beds weren't heavy, especially the mattresses. The wardrobes weren't really heavy, but you did need two people because of the size. They were quite flimsy. The desks were heavy. And I'm not sure if the desks were flat packed or if they were already made. I can't remember. All I know is it was cold. I hadn't eaten. Not eating probably is not really relevant to the story. It was like me telling you that I listened to Michael Jackson's new song on the way there while I was, waiting for a train. Not relevant to the story. Makes it a little bit more exciting. A little bit more, It's like adding a car chase. It's like I sat on a different bench while I waited for a bus. Because there's like 3 benches you could sit on, plastic ones underneath the bus stop. I sat on a different one to the right instead of to the left. See, it adds variety to the story. It makes it a bit more interesting. And it just proves my flexibility as a storyteller. I don't know why that's funny. Why I'm laughing. So I get to this job and it's cold, probably about January time. I'm all ready to go. I'm fully fit. This is back in the days when I was very, very physically strong and fit. I was a young man. I was. I'm not saying I was strong, but I had my full strength, whatever my strength was at that time. And they said, we need to move all this stuff into there. And I said, okay. And I think it was job or knock. Is it job or knock? Job or knock. So basically, you get paid for the whole day, however long it takes. So if you can get it all done by lunchtime, you can go home and still get paid for the whole day. I made that little bit up, I think. I did that for a little bit of juice. Because sometimes, I think some of my stories, not all of them, but the occasional story I tell, after I've told it, I do sometimes think to myself, was it interesting enough? Did it have enough curls and twists and turns and, I'm not always sure. So I do make the effort to sort of add a few little bits sometimes. I mean, sometimes I will listen back to the recording and I think, if only I could re-record it. It's too late now. It's uploaded and people can hear it, and the 3 people that listen to me can listen. And if only I could tell that story again, I'd have added the part where I had a Jaffa cake during a break time. But that's too late then. I would have just added some zest to the story, you know? So I got there and it was very cold. I was a little bit late. Well, it's only a day's work, so I don't think they were that bothered. Well, they were. They did shout at me. I cried. But other than that, it was fine. So I bent over to pick up, and the first thing I picked up, I heard a rip in my back, and a pain. But it was like middle, more upper back, kind of like, wow. Now, that's never happened to me before. It's never happened to me since, actually, either, I don't think. Not on my back. I couldn't go home because I needed that money desperately. That £20. Probably £18. 2, 4, 6, 8, probably £20 for that day's work. And I'd already spent probably £4 getting there, travel money. So I just okay, I'm just going to stick it. And I think I put some snow on my back. I laid on the ground, and that seemed to help a little bit. But it's weird. It's almost like a zip being undone. And I just had to. Well, I didn't have to. I could have left, but I stayed, and I did the job. But I don't think I did my back any good continuing. So I had problems with my middle of my back for years. It still plays up a little bit. It's a bit of an injury. But I thought, and my lower back was starting to play up, but that was sort of separate. That was more of it's what it turned into now. It's like just a gradual thing. So I went to have a massage. It's almost like I'm trying to justify, isn't it? But it's true. That's the reason. I don't know why I was even mentioning that for. Why did I mention it? Oh yeah, can I cook? Yeah, I kind of can. Although I did have a job as a cook. I've had quite a few catering jobs when I was younger. A lot happened when I was younger. In fact, most of my life happened when I was younger. So I worked in a chip shop. That was catering. Then I did the catering course at college, 1 day a week. That was catering. The chip shop lasted for 2 years. The job. I mean, I had a job in catering. Do we say catering? Food in like a kitchen environment. Yeah, yeah. So I worked in a bakery when I was a little kid, and I was a kitchen porter. And then I was a kitchen porter numerous times at different places over the years. I also had a job as a cook in a residential home, serving elderly people that were living there. And that lasted for 2 weeks. And it turned out I wasn't wanted by anybody. It's really weird. I tell you, this is what is weird. That whole situation. There was this. It was strange because I thought, well, I know my way around cooking, and they've got someone. I'll just be basically an assistant cook for the person that's already doing it. It turned out she wasn't really into me. Didn't seem to really like me very much. She was a lot older. I would say probably, it's hard to tell, probably in her 50s. And I was, 18, 17? I was 17 years old. Why would you give a job like that to a 17-year-old? But I was 17 years old. So I did that job. It lasted for 2 weeks. The people in the home, the residential home, kept moaning about the porridge. It was, honestly, it was like a Goldilocks scene. Like, the porridge is too thick, it's too runny, it's too hot, it's too cold, too salty, too much cinnamon, too much garlic. You know, why has it got minced meat in it? Why is there stinging nettles in my porridge? It's like, there shouldn't be sand in it. Like, just on it, moaning and moaning. I mean, someone even moaned about the radishes. Oh, can't you imagine porridge and radishes? That's a weird mixture. I thought if I mushed them up, they wouldn't notice. But yeah, it didn't go well. And then the woman that was there, I think the first day I'm doing this, the lady that was pretty much my boss, she took an instant dislike to me. Ah, well. But then a motorbike pulls up, and in comes this absolute, I'm not going to say the word, someone that I didn't care for. And the reason I didn't care for this person, unless I was 19 or 18, I lose track. But the reason I didn't like this person is because he used to date my stepmum during the time that I was living with her at my step nan's flat. I was living in a sitting room. Yeah, I was sleeping on a camper bed in the living room from about April to the following March. April, May, was that kind of time. And so my dad and my stepmum had split up, and he started dating my stepmum because they used to work together or something. Now that wasn't really the reason why I had an issue with him. A little bit, but I was in a nightclub, probably, when I was 17. And he came up to me and said something very, very offensive. Because he wasn't dating her anymore. She'd moved away at this point and was getting married to someone else. So he said something very, very rude to me. And I didn't do anything. I should have done something, but I didn't do anything except hold a grudge. And then I see him, he walks in, and he introduces me and he says, because he remembered me. Oh, hello, Jason. And he gives this woman a cuddle. He says, she's like my mum, this one. They said to us, it's like my mum. And he used to come in every day to see her. And bearing in mind what he said about my mum, I'm not sure if I said anything or not. I might have done. But yeah, I wasn't his. And she spent hours going on about him. How lovely he was. how wonderful he was. And I was wondering, maybe there's a bit more there. Maybe she didn't see him as a son. I don't know. I hope they're happy. In an Adele way. I wish you well. I wish you well with your new husband. Oh yes, I just want you to be happy. Yeah, right. Okay. Right, so what dishes do I sometimes prepare? Yeah. Nothing really. Just whatever I have to. It's really weird. I've been eating more breakfast cereal the last few months. So, not just breakfast cereal, but, predominantly I haven't been eating much food. Just to help, cut down a bit. I mean, a standard thing for me would be mashed potatoes, veg, and something to go with it. That would be it, kind of, really. Or a sandwich, a baguette. Yeah. So, that wasn't very well answered, was it? Sorry about that. Dimitri asks me, I remember you mentioned in your videos that you lived for some time in Ireland, visiting France and liked Bulgaria. If you don't mind me asking, have you ever lived in any other countries besides the UK and Ireland? How many countries have you visited, and which countries would you like to visit if you had the opportunity? That's already 3 questions, sorry. Is it? It felt like about 9 questions. Is it only 3? Right. Have I visited any other countries? Let's go through the countries I've visited. Belgium, when I was a kid. I think I visited Belgium 3 times. I like Belgium. Never been a fan of hills, so Belgium's good. If you don't like hills, Belgium's good. No hills. I mean, it's good for a skateboard or abseiling. Is it abseiling? I don't know, but yeah, it's nice. I like Belgium. Other foreign countries. I went to France in 1989. Travelled through France with a new friend of mine. We spent about 5 days, maybe a little bit longer, travelling through, hitching, walking, getting trains from kind of one side of France to the other, through the Alps, kind of. This is in the summer. And ended up in Paris, and it was good. I quite liked it. That was 1989, the summer. Oh, before that I went to Spain for the afternoon. That was 89. That was probably about May time, maybe June. So you went to Spain. So I've been to Spain, France, Spain, Belgium, and then I think that was it really, until I went, Bulgaria. I went to Bulgaria. I like Bulgaria. And then, Amsterdam. So I went to Amsterdam after Bulgaria. So Bulgaria, then Amsterdam, so the Netherlands, in whatever year that was, early 2000s. And then, I forgot about that. So Amsterdam, Bulgaria was before Amsterdam. And then I went to Isle of Man. I mean, technically it's not another country, but it is. There's an ocean between us, so it's another island. And then I think that was it. And then I've been to Thailand twice. So yeah, so what is that? Belgium and Ireland. I lived in Ireland in '94, about September time. I moved there for about 5 or 6 weeks. So maybe it was longer, I don't know. I lose track, to be honest with you. I think I was back before Christmas. Maybe I wasn't. So so what is it? Back. Can I say so anymore? Said it enough times. Belgium, France. No, Belgium, Spain, France, Amsterdam, Ireland, Amsterdam, Ireland, Bulgaria, Amsterdam, Thailand. I think that's it. Just only 7 countries. France, Spain, Belgium, Spain, France, Bulgaria, Amsterdam or Netherlands, and technically, good, I've been to Thailand, but technically I also went to Dubai, but that was the airport, Dubai airport. So I have been to Dubai, I just didn't leave the airport. I've also been to Sweden, but I didn't leave the airport. So there you go. So I've been to Sweden, I've been to Dubai. It's such a shame you can't just... I mean, I guess if I was a bit more organised, I would have done a trip to Sweden, had a few days in Sweden, done a trip to Dubai. Perhaps, how could I afford to have time in Dubai? But, if I could afford it, have a few days in Dubai. So I'm still going to class those as countries I've been in, because I have actually been on the ground in those countries. I just haven't gone for a wander. The airport in Sweden was tiny, really. And everyone was blonde. I thought, wow. Not in the world, but just all the staff were blonde. Like, blimey. But then all the staff in Thailand were Thai. So I guess, it's the way it is, isn't it? All the staff in... Yeah, all the staff in France were French. All the staff in Spain were Spanish. Yeah, all the staff in Amsterdam are Amsterdamish. All the staff in Belgium were Belgianish. So I guess that makes sense, doesn't it? What's the other part of the question? What countries would I like to visit if I had the opportunity? America? Australia? Canada? New Zealand? A lot of Europe, maybe most countries in Europe. Denmark, Norway, yeah, I'd like to travel through Europe. That'd be cool. I'd like to do a cruise that goes around Europe. You know, so I guess I'm only going to see the outskirts of Europe, not all the inside countries. But that'd be cool, see how many. In fact, I'd love to do a world cruise one day and be on a ship for a whole year, something like that. Obviously not going to happen anytime soon, unless I take my little boy with me. Hey, I'm not going anywhere without him. Half a year I would, but not for a whole year. No, I couldn't leave him. And I don't think you're allowed to take... Are you allowed to take pets onto ships? I don't know what the rules are. I mean, cruise ships, that is. Besides, he'll just try and jump in the water, probably. Because he's not, you know... He's not always aware of what's around. Well, he's aware of he's aware of around things, you know, balls. So yeah, I think the whole world, I'd love to visit Russia, I'd love to visit China. That might not be a popular thing to say, but I would. I think just there's so many beautiful countries, and when I was in London, I worked with so many people from other countries. So many. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of people in all the different jobs I had from all over the world. And like Poland, I never met a Polish person I didn't get on with. And I've met lots. Not for quite a while, but apart from Uber drivers. But I've never met a Russian person I didn't like, or a Chinese person I didn't get on with. It's just... It's the English people, that's the... No. If you live in London, if you're a young person, which I was once, living and working in London, back in the 90s, the whole world was there. Maybe it still is, but the whole world were coming over to my country. And I'd be working in agencies with people from, blimey, just like all parts of Europe. Africa was a big place. I know it still is a big place, isn't it? But there's a lot of people from Africa and people from like India and Pakistan, and there was people I was working with from like Muslim countries. So that was my first real experience of being around people of that religion, and it's in education. It is. It's just people are different and behave the different behaviour. There was a Christian that worked at my place, a place I worked, and he was getting picked on. But he was so lovely. But he was very... he'd be sitting reading the Bible. He didn't try and get people to read the Bible. He didn't try and indoctrinate anyone. Wasn't trying to get people to go to church. Nothing like that. But if anyone asked him, he would tell them what he believed, like in Jesus. And some people would really make fun of him and mock him. And I didn't like that. So I kind of took him under my wing a little bit. Just, I said, look, don't worry, I'll sit with you during break time or whatever. You can just, I'll keep an eye on you. Just promise you one thing. He said, what? I said, put the Bible away, please, mate. You're embarrassing everyone. No, I didn't say that. I said, look, just do what you want to do. But don't take people's rubbish. Don't take their crap from you, you know? Because he was very subservient, very mellow, and I had to sort of stop a couple of people from getting... One person was even getting physical, trying to get physical with him, because he was backing down and he wouldn't do anything. And that was making this person even more angry. Like, no, step back, honey. Ain't happening. Not picking on someone because they they have a religious belief and they're being peaceful. It's ridiculous. So yeah. It's quite weird because it turned out that he stopped talking to me. Apparently I was embarrassing. So what other questions are there? So I would like to go to visit lots of countries just for fun. Not really education. I mean, I'm going to be educated along the way, but there's only so much you can really learn from spending a short time anywhere. Because, you know, if you go to, let's say someone they came to England, came to London, and they're in London for a week. Now, depending on what happens in that week will determine how they view England for the rest of their life if they never return. You know, if they're from another country, they come here for a week, stay in a hotel. If they stay in London, their view of the country is going to be very different from if they stay in Luton, or if they stay in Ipswich, or if they stay in Norwich, or Liverpool, or Manchester, or if they stayed in Scotland, in Edinburgh, or Glasgow, or in Wales. You know, their whole outlook on this island that I live on is going to be different. So I'm going to get an idea what it's like, what other countries are like, but not really, am I? I'm going to get an idea based on my short stay in those countries. I mean, I stayed in Ireland for, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, but I was in a little town. I can't say I know what it's like to live in Ireland, not really, because I lived in just one place for a short period of time. I travelled to Dublin because that's where I travelled from. I got the ferry, and the ferry was to Dublin, or the ferry was there was a bus from the ferry took me to Dublin. So I don't know how close the ferry is to Dublin itself. I think if I went back to Ireland, I would just stay in Dublin. But then I got a friend. I've got friends, I think, in Cork. So, you know, that'd be the place to visit. Oh, I'm going to go back to Ireland and visit there. Hopefully one day. Do a bit of a pilgrimage. And yeah, I'd like to do a cruise. And I kind of like, I enjoy the idea of having the option of getting off the ship or staying on the ship. The only problem I've got, well, not the only problem I've got, but one of the problems is I will be making videos and podcasts when I'm there on the ship, if I manage to get it done. And I'm guessing it's pretty noisy. I'd need to find a cabin that was very, very quiet, and I don't know if such a thing exists. I know the microphone's pretty good and it doesn't pick up much of the outside, but I'm pretty sure if this whole building was just shaking the whole time, which I'm guessing, well, I've been on a few ships, and you know you're on a ship. You know, at no point have I ever been on a ship and thought, well, I wonder where I am. It's just so smooth. It's like I'm just sitting at home. Oh, no, you know you're on a ship because of the sound, the vibrations. I'm not complaining about the vibrations, but just saying it is a shippy feel. What is my favourite word? Shippy feel. That's my new favourite word. Shippy feel. What's my favourite word? Yes. Well, okay. My favourite word. Favourite word? Groovy. I think groovy is my favourite word. Groovy. That's Hillary asked that one, so I should say your name, Hillary. Sorry, Hillary. What's my favourite word? It's not a strange question. What it's just, I don't think anyone's ever asked me what my favourite word is before. You know, things like favourite colours, what's your favourite food, what do you like to do, blah, 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 all that. Favourite word? Wow, there's so many words. And I think I'm forgetting more and more every day. Word. Nipple. No, I don't know. I don't know. My favourite word. Rimming. I don't know. I think groovy may be my favourite word. Groovy. Yeah, groovy. Or maybe Vinny. Andre. That their names are not words, are they really? They're names. Although they are words, but pizza. War. Groovy. Maybe groovy. I think groovy might be my favourite word. Groovy. You've caught me off guard. That doesn't happen very often, apart from when it does. Blimey. Okay, Hillary, I'm going to go with groovy. Groovy. Because that is a word that I do use. Maybe not so much on podcasts, but in real life I do use the word groovy. Cara, and I've been using it since the 80s. You know, it's not like I'm not copying anyone. It's a word that was used a lot. More in the 60s, really, to be fair. But Cara asks me, have you ever been under anaesthesia? Just woke up from one minor procedure myself. Best sleep of my life. I have. I hope you're feeling well, Cara. I have. I've been under general anaesthesia. We call it general anaesthetic because you've got local anaesthetic, which just numbs the area, and then general. So that's what in this country we call it general. You're going under general. Going under the general? No, going under general. Why would I want to be under a general? No, general anaesthetic. Why didn't you say that then? Okay. Wow. But yeah, general. I've been under general twice. Once when I was about 8. I had my adenoids out because I was partially deaf in one ear, and they were trying to like cure it, and there was like a blockage or whatever. Eyes, ears, nose, throat, all that stuff. So it was a blockage, and I was having earaches, and then they tested my ears. I don't even know which ear it was, to be honest with you. Such a long time ago. It's over 4 years ago, and I don't much remember anything that happened when I was 8, but I don't remember much about. I remember I remember the build up to the operation. I don't remember much afterwards. The reason being, if I told you about my oh, what do they call it? Not Marmite, Bovril. Have I told you my Bovril story? Well, so I was there. I was in this like a really basement-y place. I think there's one other kid in a children's ward. It was grotty. They knocked the hospital down. I'm not sure they even waited to get rid of all the patients. I think, it was just like, it was really horrible. Anyway, I was in there. It was still nice to have a break from the family, though. When you've got 3 brothers, it's always nice to get away. It's like, okay, it's an operation. It's going to take 6 months to recover. I'll take it. It's like, just get me out of this house. But no, I didn't. Nothing too bad. So I was in there for probably a couple of days, 3 days maybe. Had my adenoids out. But not the night before the adenoids, but the night before the adenoids. Or it might have been the night after the adenoids. Yeah, it might have been the night after. Because I'm pretty sure I couldn't have anything to eat. So I wouldn't have probably been allowed to have anything to drink. But anyway, at some point during my stay there, I was one of the, I don't know if it was a nurse or a lady came round with, she might have just been from the canteen, I don't know. She came around with a trolley full of drinks, options, so like, do you want a cup of tea, cup of coffee, Bovril, juice, water. The problem is, at that time in my life, and not only at that time, generally in life, I struggle. I've always had a difficulty with choosing. I don't know if it's because it's a fear of missing out. Like if I choose one thing, what about the other thing? If I have that, but I want that now, but I can't have that because it's gone, and I'm stuck with this, but I want that one. But if I don't have that one, I don't want this one. It's, that's why I like Spanish tapas, because a bit of everything. That suits me. That's how I like things, bit of everything, like a buffet. Well, they didn't offer that as a service, a buffet of drinks. Why they couldn't just leave the trolley and let me just help myself and see which one I like best. Samples, that's what I wanted. And she said, no, there are other people to see. You're not the only person in this hospital. Which I thought was a bit rude to say that to a 7-year-old or 8-year-old, whatever I was. And I couldn't decide. I had a cup of tea. No, do I want a cup of tea? I'll have a drink of Coke. I don't have Coke. Coke probably wasn't available, but I'll have some orange juice. No, I don't want orange juice. And there's a little voice in my head saying, try the Bovril. Never had Bovril before. I hate Marmite. Never liked Marmite. I said, what's Bovril like? She said, well, if you like Marmite, you'll love Bovril. So I got one side of my brain saying, well, I can't stand Marmite, so I'm going to absolutely detest Bovril. And the other voice in my head saying, try Marmite, you might like it. And then the other part of my voice is saying, look, if they turned up with liquid peanut butter with hot water, would you drink that? Maybe. But we hate peanut butter. So why would you have it in a drink? I don't know, it might be nice. Anyway, that voice won. So I said, I'll have Bovril. I changed my mind right at the last minute. She was just on her way out of the door. She turned around. I've never seen someone so angry. She pushed the trolley. It's quite weird to push a trolley angrily when everything's a bit balanced, because you don't want to be sort of knocking things over. And so she was like stamping her feet. It was funny. Not for her. And I said, I'll have Bovril then, please. She said, really? You sure? I said, yeah, Bovril. She said, are you definitely going to have Bovril? Because I've already gone to make you a cup of tea, cup of coffee, juice. I opened some juice up. You didn't want that. I opened some lemonade up, a fresh bottle. You didn't want any of that. She's like, are you sure you're going to take the Bovril? I said, yeah. At that point, I did think I don't want it, especially when she started like pouring the water in, hot water in, and I could smell it, and but I was a bit scared to sort of say, actually, I've changed my mind. Can I have some hot chocolate? Anyway, I had the Bovril. You all right, Vinny? He's looking up at me with admiration, of course. I said, okay, I'll have the Bovril. She left it with me. She left so quick. Ran. That's a weird noise, isn't it? A little bit stuffy today. She left with the trolley. And all I can say is it was the worst drink I ever had. And I'm pretty sure after that point it was nil by mouth. No water, nothing. So I think it was the night of the operation. So I was having the operation in the morning, but I was allowed to have one more drink before the operation, which was 12 hours later or something, probably. Or maybe 5 hours, 6 hours. I can't remember. I'm making this up. I don't know the exact details. What's up, Vinny? He wants to cuddle. What's up, Vin? You want cuddles? He wants to cuddle. You want cuddles? Come on, then. Come on. Hey, cuddles. He let me cuddle him earlier, but I don't think he wants me now. Oh. Oh, good boy. See, I'm pretty sure. And cuddles. You want proper cuddles? Eh? He does. He wants me to actually cuddle him. Cuddle him? He did it earlier. I'm sitting here and he climbed up and I cuddled him and he was happy. He just settled into it. The problem is he doesn't like being picked up. So he has to go through that period of, I don't know if it's a trust thing. He's really wanting my attention. What is it, Vinny? But then whenever I put my hand near him, he runs away. Well, not right now, but I mean, I could grab him, but I don't want to. You know, I want him to want to. I want him to want me. He wants something. He definitely wants my attention. Oh dear, yawny. So I was, so I've been under anaesthetic that time. I don't remember what it felt like coming out of that. The second time when I was about 12, I had my appendix out. And I remember that. I remember the lead up to having the operation, being taken in. I remember all of it, including the counting down. Countdown from 100, 99, 98. That determination, I'm going to get down to 1. I'm going to stay awake through this. Like, why would I want to stay awake? Anyway, I didn't. And then I woke up and it was very, after that, after waking up and coming back, I was groggy, but when I came back, I think I was on morphine for the pain. And I would say probably the happiest time of my life was being in that children's ward when I was 12. So I was in the children's ward. There was only like one kid younger than me. Everyone else was probably about my age or a bit older. I think the children's ward went up to 15 or 16. And I just had so much fun. I was laughing. I realised later on that maybe it was the morphine, but I was having the time of my life. Absolutely loved it. I mean, it was a bit painful. Just had my appendix out. But other than that, I was fine. And I just loved it. I didn't want to go home. I was happy to stay there. And the worst part was visiting time. Because, having to act like, oh, you right, Jason? Oh, as soon as they were gone, I could start laughing again. No, I did laugh. I mean, I was just laughing. When they came round, I was laughing and just it's hurting, but I'm just laughing. Everything was funny. It was a really good time. It was definitely probably one of the highlights of my childhood. So yeah, it's not the being under anaesthetic part, but the afterwards, I don't know why, but maybe it was the appendix were just holding me back. And once they were out, I could just be myself. There's no logic in that sentence whatsoever. So yeah, twice. Is it only 2 times I've been under? I think it is. There is a chance I might have gone under anaesthetic to have a tooth removed when I was a kid, but I don't remember. But that used to be a standard thing with dentists when I was a kid, where they put a gas thing on you, but you'd only be out for a short time. I don't remember though. I don't think so. I think only twice in a hospital setting. And yeah, that was it. Who'd have thought that I'd actually get to answer all the questions? And I think I was quite thorough. Yes, thorough. Have you any idea how long it takes from recording this to processing it, editing it? It hours and hours and hours. Oh well. So I'm going to go. So I hope you enjoyed my it's not a t-shirt, it's my Hawaiian shirt. Oh, it feels quite nice actually. It's quite silky. Kind of silk. I don't know, maybe it is silk. Perhaps it is. So I'm going to get more of these. Yeah, Hawaiian shirts. That's what I've been missing from my life. Bright pink Hawaiian shirts. That's the new JJ this year. I get a few little bits and bobs, make myself look a bit, I mean it's hard to believe, but even more groovy. Oh yeah. And I didn't just say groovy for the sake of, because I said it was my favourite word. I do like to say the word groovy. Although I do feel a little bit self-conscious now. It's not about the shirt. I had to edit a couple of days ago a video, and I turned back to Vinny and saying, oh please stop. And you can see the back of my head, and honestly, it's the bald patch on the back of my head is ridiculous. Like really ridiculous. It's not even funny anymore. Huge. honestly, it's like my hair was one continent, and now it's all kind of breaking away into different continents, to new different ones, you know, and different countries and stuff. And it's just not fair. It's not fair. It's hard. It's pretty harder for someone like me to go from perfection to oh dear. So I'm going to go. Thank you for listening. Remember to be kind to yourself, because you do deserve to be happy. Lots of love. Bye. He knows straight away when I say, do you notice that? I say goodbye, he just dropped what he was doing. What? See ya. What, Vin? What? But you haven't eaten your dinner, you want a treat, don't you? Is that what you want, a treat? It is, isn't it? That's all you want. His tummy the whole time, it's all he ever thinks about. Okay, come and get a treat then.